one small thing.
Yeah.
When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?
Throughout the course of his life, the Joker has been responsible for a great number of evil, cruel, or cruelly sadistic deeds. However, he has also been responsible for a number of deeds that are on the verge of being wholly unsuitable and way beyond lines of good taste, even by standards of comics. Thus, here are the 10 most unsuitable Joker storylines. Raining Down Poisonous Glass, Lovers and Madmen. The Lovers and Madmen story arc, which debuted in 2008 and was written by Michael Green, Dennis Cohen, and John Floyd, presented a novel interpretation of the Joker's origin story as well as their first encounter. Even though he is first seen to be an ordinary guy called Jack, the clown prince of crime is nonetheless every bit as dangerous as you would anticipate, and this is wonderfully presented in the specific plot he concocts to leave his imprint in Gotham City. In order to carry out this plot, a massive blimp will be piloted in the direction of Gotham's Twin Towers. The airship manages to fly to its destination, where it detonates upon contact, despite the best efforts of the GCPD. Be mindful that the explosion itself is not the primary worry at this time. Rather, the shards of glass that were contained inside the airship are the primary source of concern for the citizens of the city at this time. As a consequence of this, the sidewalk below quickly becomes covered with dead people. Not noticing Harley vanished for a year to have a baby. Injustice Gods Among Us Year 2. It doesn't matter whether you're talking about the two major video games or the comic book adventures, the universe of Injustice Gods Among Us is one that is really demented. As a result of Superman's transformation into a full-fledged global dictator after being tricked into killing the pregnant Lois Lane and the entire population of Metropolis, by the Joker of course, here we have heroes fighting heroes and villains fighting villains, as the familiar faces of DC Comics are forced to choose whether to side with the Man of Steel's tyrannical ways or choose to oppose the all-powerful Kryptonian. In the case of Harley Quinn, she is aligned with the likes of Batman, Green Arrow, and Black Canary in the goal of putting an end to the reign of terror that Superman has been waging. The shocking revelation that this incarnation of Harleen does in fact have a daughter comes up in the Injustice comics. After finding out that Canary is expecting and that the recently slain Emerald Archer is the father of the unborn child, the Maid of Mischief discloses to Dina that she too is a mother to a daughter called Lucy. Lucy, who is now 4 years old and lives with Harley's sister, has been with her ever since she was born. Quinn has explained to Lucy that Joker would never have welcomed the kid into his life. Quinza reveals that she vanished for a full year during her pregnancy and that when she came back, her puddin' acted like he didn't even realize that Harley had been absent. Eating China. Emperor Joker. In this scene, which was first shown to the public in 2001, the Joker engages in conversation with Mr. Mxyzptlk, a recurring antagonist from the Man of Steel series. A godlike imp with the capacity to distort reality, the inquisitive Mixie makes the decision that he would want to see what would occur if he donated only 1% of his abilities to a human in order to find out what would happen. Joker conned Mr. Mxyzptlk into giving him 99.99% of his abilities, and as a result, Mr. J becomes one of the most powerful creatures in the universe. Batman's archenemy decides to have some fun with the skills that are now at his fingertips, while Superman is busy trying to put a stop to Joker's rampage of twisted depravity and other atrocities. In this scenario, the Joker is responsible for the death of Lex Luthor, the joyful slaughter of Jimmy Olsen, and the torturing and killing of Batman. After which he reanimates him and continues the process each and every day. When it comes to China, Emperor Joker weirdly consumes the whole country along with its people, all while making jokes that are at best inappropriate and at worst, downright racist, poisoning a group of innocent children. The Dark Knight Returns. In the seminal work written by Frank Miller titled The Dark Knight Returns, the Harley Quinn of Hate is responsible for committing a number of crimes, one of which is the murder of a group of children. This story from 1986 is one of the few instances in which the Joker truly meets his end. In spite of the fact that it was supposed to be a fight to the death, Bruce Wayne only succeeded in paralyzing the Joker rather than killing him in the end, despite the fact that Batman had decided that it was time to put an end to his archenemy once and for all. The jester of genocide was so adamant about making it seem to the general world that Bats was a murderer that he actually ended his own life by slitting his own throat and breaking his neck before committing himself. Before they engaged in their decisive battle, Batman had been tricked into going to a county fair, where he discovered the bodies of hundreds of children who had been killed by the Joker by eating cotton candy that was poisoned with ricin, using a baby as a bait to murder Sarah Essen, No Man's Land. After being hit by a significant earthquake, Gotham City is left to fend for itself in the aftermath of this year-long narrative that spanned all of the Batman-driven series for the year of 1999. The Joker decides to pursue a new strategy in light of the fact that there are a great number of villains competing for control of Gotham. As a result of this, the Clown Prince of Crime abducts all of the infants in Gotham City and moves into the former headquarters of Gotham City Police Department. Sarah Essen, the second wife of Jim Gordon, ends up being the one who discovers the gesture of genocide on Christmas Day. She feels terrible about it. Mr. J tosses the kid into the air as Essen points a pistol at the Joker as he is holding a newborn child in the previous scene. Joker takes her life just as Sarah is about to automatically grab the child to protect her. Torturing Harley Quinn, death of the family. Sadly for Harleen, during the course of the series, readers have seen her being subjected to various forms of physical and mental abuse at the hands of the Joker on several occasions. The fact that Quinzel is not the original Harley Quinn is what makes the horrible physical suffering that Quinzel inflicts on Harley Quinn in Running with the Devil, which is itself a part of the wider Death of the Family arc, so more disturbing. This story about the Suicide Squad sees the Joker making a comeback after he was thought to be dead. He is regaining his face, which had been peeled off of him before as part of his death, and he's eager to teach Harley Quinn a lesson. This message continued to be that she ought to submit herself to him, and she ought to renounce her membership in Task Force X. This ensues in a struggle between the two, which leads to Harley being poisoned and locked up in a dismal, dark dungeon since the Maid of Mischief is hesitant to perform what is required of her. Traumatizing Team Drake, Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker. There's a particular sequence in Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker that, to this day, gives viewers a very uneasy feeling when they see it. The fact that the Joker implanted a microchip in Team Drake all those years ago is the key to understanding the puzzling re-emergence of the long-dead Clown Prince of Crime at the center of this image. This made it possible for the Jester of Genocide's consciousness to take over Drake's now-adult body and turn that vessel into a Joker duplicate without Tim ever being aware of what was happening, making Jim Gordon look at his naked, crippled daughter. The Killing Joke. Even though The Killing Joke is widely considered to be one of the best Joker tales ever told, the film nonetheless contains a number of scenes that go beyond the bounds of appropriateness. In this scene, the Joker is intent on putting an end to Jim Gordon's life. Sadly for Barbara Gordon, she was an unintended victim of this strategy, and she was considered collateral damage. Barbara is having a drink with her grandfather when the doorbell rings at her apartment. Thinking it's one of her friends, Barbara opens the door. Instead, Barbs is met with the sight of the Joker, who quickly shoots her on sight when they make eye contact with each other. This was the moment when Barbara, who was at that time safeguarding Gotham as Batgirl, was brutally handicapped. It is subsequently discovered that the Joker and his men had stripped the paralyzed body of Barbara and taken nude photographs of her. These images are subsequently enlarged and displayed to the abducted and bound Jim Gordon, with the Harley Quinn of Hate making fun of Jimbo as he tries to trick the GCPD commissioner into revealing his secrets. Everything about 2008's Joker graphic novel. Joker, a graphic novel written by Brian Azzarello and Lee Bermejo and published in 2008, took a great deal of its visual inspiration from Heath Ledger's performance as the Clown Prince of Crime in Christopher Nolan's film The Dark Knight. This story is told from the perspective of Johnny Frost, a new member of the Jester of Genocide's henchmen. Johnny, much like so many others, will inevitably become just another victim of the Joker's. But his tragic path is one that at least provides readers with a complete look into the vileness of which Mr. J is capable of. The villain in this incarnation of the Joker takes inspiration from Leatherface and practically skins alive a guy named Monty. He also coerces a bank manager into masturbating in front of a photo of his own daughter. The Harley Quinn of Hate rapes Johnny's wife as a means of getting even with Frost after Frost met with Joker's adversary, Two-Face. Jesus! Romanticizing and normalizing abusive relationships. Although in more recent years, Quinn has been shown as a powerful character in her own right, who does not need the Joker. This was not always the case in earlier years. Before she met the Joker, Harley Quinzel had a prosperous career as a psychologist at Arkham Asylum. Soon after, she fell prey to the Clown Prince of Crime's allure and became his sidekick as well as the object of his affection after assisting Mr. J in his escape from Arkham. The issue is that this love interest character was often, and to a considerable extent, unilaterally involved. While Harley was hopelessly in love with the Joker and tried all in her power to win his approval, the Joker would treat Harley with scorn, make fun of her at every opportunity, and even resort to physically abusing her on occasion. For many years, this was how the relationship was portrayed, with Quinn constantly seeming to dismiss the Clown Prince of Crime's hostile, possessive, controlling, aggressive, and abusive behavior with a simple shrug of the shoulders. In spite of the fact that this duo was occasionally portrayed as a jovial, slapstick-style version of Bonnie and Clyde, the reality is that the Joker did not have and still does not have any true love for Harley Quinn. Instead, he views her as merely another plaything who is expendable to the Harley Quinn of hate. And that's it. Tell us in the comments what you think is the most unsuitable Joker storyline and why you think it is. Click the like button if you'd like to see more videos just like the one you're watching now. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll be waiting for you in the next video.